Friday, May 16, 2025 marked the beginning of the Joe Loth era at Southern Connecticut State, as he was named the 7th head football coach in Southern history. Coach Loth came to Southern from Western Connecticut State, following head coaching stints at Otterbein University and Keene University. The common theme at all three stops for Coach Loth was immediate and sustained success with all three programs. At Western Connecticut, he took a team riding a 21-game losing streak and produced 12 consecutive winning seasons, 6 postseason appearances, and bowl championships on his way to becoming the all-time winningest coach in program history with a record of 77-45. All-time, he has won 133 games in 24 years of coaching. Prior to Coach Loth, Otterbein had just one winning season before his arrival, and has had just 2 winning seasons since his departure. On the field, Coach Loth's programs have produced record-setting offensive numbers, annually ranking atop the Massachusetts State Athletic Conference during his time at WestCon. In 2023, his program averaging an astounding 49.2 points per game, while over the previous 3 seasons his team averaged 34.9 points per game. Off the field, he guided a WestCon program that consistently led all MASCAC programs in academic all-conference honors, with 94 over a 2-year period.
Coach Joe Loth.
First of all, as I stand up here and I looked at, moving on from my last school, I've only applied for one school in the last 24 years. That was Western Connecticut, and that was 12 years ago. And then I had some opportunities, sometimes when you have success, over the years, but didn't follow them up on them. And this is the second job I applied to in really 24 years. And so that's how much I think this program, how important or how good or how nice or all those things, why this job is such a great job. So I want to thank the president. I want to thank the athletic director. I want to thank the media for being here. But I truly think this is one of the best jobs in the country. I really do. And they kept saying the number 7. And that literally, when you look at the history of Southern Connecticut football, people ask me, why would I leave a school that I obviously had a lot of success at and move to a school like Southern? And to me, it was really 2 things. It started off with the history of Southern Connecticut football. They've had 6 coaches here since 1948 or 49 when Coach Dow started the program. And the success he had obviously laid the foundation for what has happened after. And then you saw Coach Gilbride. You've had Coach DeLeon here. Obviously, Coach Kavanaugh. You've had some coaches here. And there's not a lot of coaches that have been through here. And when you look at my history, I've been the head coach at 3 places. The first place I took over a 14-game losing streak at a place that probably had 20 coaches in the previous 40 years. And then I went to Otterbein University, my alma mater, where I played at. I was a decent player, but they had 1 winning year in 25 years before I got there. Like no history of football. In 1946, I think they almost beat West Virginia. Their history is almost winning a game against a big team. And then I went to Western Connecticut, and they started football in 1969. I think they've had 20 coaches since they've been there, since 1969. And, and now as I started doing history on Southern, and I always knew Southern was a good program. Like when I was a young coach, and then as I coached from across the state and looked at Southern, I've obviously met a ton of Southern Connecticut grads, knew a lot about the program. Then I started doing research, like when I said, hey, I think this might be a job I want to apply to. And looked at the history of football and really dug into it and realized, besides Yale, I don't know if there's a more historic program in the state of Connecticut than Southern Connecticut. I really look at it that way. And obviously my goal and my job is to get it back to where it's been historically. Truly. This is a place where I think it's one of the best jobs in the country, and I'm so excited to be the head coach here. And really the second reason I looked at Southern Connecticut is I coached at a private school for 9 years, my alma mater. We were pretty good. We got it turned around, won a lot of football games, and I left to go to a game to Western Connecticut that had a 21-game losing streak. And people thought I was crazy. Why would I go to a state school for my alma mater where we're winning a bunch of games? And it's because what I learned as a private school coach, doesn't matter Division II or Division III, most people haven't heard of these private schools. Like no one's ever heard of some of these schools if you're outside of the region. But kids are going there and paying too much to go to the private school to get the exact same education, to get the exact same football experience And then when Western Connecticut came open, and my wife is a Western Connecticut grad, she's in the back there, doesn't want me to point her out. But, I said, hey, I'm going to look at Western Connecticut if it comes open, because I was a young coach there, and I knew that the value you can get out of a state university, the quality of education you can get, and then in tying the history of Southern Connecticut football to the value of education you get at a school like this, and it is an easy sell, man. It is an easy sell. So that's why I was so excited when this job came open, and I pursued it. I was fortunate enough to get this job, but I stand here before you knowing this is one of the best jobs in the country, and we can't wait to get started and win a bunch of football games. Okay, thank you.